Have you ever given something your absolute best, only to feel completely drained at the end of the day? You show up early, you stay up late, you try your hardest to meet every demand, to get everything right, but no matter how much you give, it never feels like enough. There's always another task, another goal, another invisible standard pressing against your chest like a quiet, constant weight. And you begin to wonder, why am I so tired, even when I'm doing everything I'm supposed to? This kind of tiredness isn't just from lack of sleep. It's deeper than that. It's the weariness of a heart that's been pushing too long, too hard, too fast, chasing something it can't quite name. Perhaps you've noticed this too, that even when you rest, your mind is still running, planning, rehearsing, comparing, fearing. You lie down at night, but inside, you're still moving, as if the day never truly ends. And it's not because you're weak, it's because you care. You want to do well. You want to be enough. You want to matter. But what if the very effort to be enough is the thing pulling you away from your peace? What if, instead of trying harder, the answer is learning how to let go, gently, mindfully, with wisdom? In the next quiet stretch of time, we will explore together why effort without awareness leads to suffering, and how the teachings of the Buddha offer us a path out of this cycle. We'll return to a beautiful principle in Buddhist philosophy, the Middle Way, the art of living in balance, without extremes, neither striving too hard, nor falling into stagnation. We'll touch gently on the teaching of not self, the insight that frees us from tying our worth to achievements or identity. We'll also walk through a simple yet powerful meditation to help you lay down the weight you've been carrying, those invisible bags filled with pressure, perfectionism, and silent expectations. And most importantly, we'll remember that you are already worthy of peace, not because of what you've done, but simply because you are here. This is a space for you to breathe again, to soften, to feel seen, not for who you're trying to be, but for the quiet truth of who you are beneath it all. Let us begin this journey, not by doing more, but by slowing down. Somewhere deep within, there's a voice that whispers, you're still not enough. You do more, you give more, you try harder, yet still it lingers. This quiet ache, the one that no achievement seems to soothe, doesn't always come from failure. Strangely, it often comes right after success, after the praise, after checking off everything on the list. There's a strange emptiness that follows, a silence not of peace, but of depletion. In our modern world, we are trained, almost conditioned, to chase perfection. From the earliest age, we are measured by grades, by goals, by how well we perform under pressure. We are told that value is earned through accomplishment, that rest is indulgent, that slowing down means we are falling behind, and so we run. Not because we love the race, but because we fear what happens if we stop. But when you measure your worth by how much you achieve, you begin to lose the softness of your own being. You become a project instead of a person, a to-do list instead of a living breath. From the perspective of the Buddha, this form of suffering is not surprising. It's a natural outcome of tanha, craving to be better, to be admired, to become someone worthy in the eyes of the world. This craving is subtle. It hides behind ambition and responsibility, but it is still craving, nonetheless. And where there is craving, there is suffering. The Buddha taught that all suffering arises from attachment, especially attachment to identity. We grasp at the idea of who we think we should be. We compare it to who we currently are, and that gap becomes the birthplace of shame, anxiety, exhaustion. We believe, if I work harder, I will be loved. If I'm perfect, I'll be safe. But that belief is a trap. The more you grasp, the more you spin. The more you strive, the more you suffer. Like a wheel turning without rest. And so we burn out. Not because we are broken, but because we have been reaching for something that cannot ever satisfy the soul. There's a story passed down from the time of the Buddha. A young monk had joined the Sangha with great enthusiasm. He practiced fiercely, meditated for hours, fasted often, slept little. He pushed his body and mind to the limit, convinced that only through severe effort could he reach liberation. But soon, he became sick and deeply discouraged. His spirit dimmed. He considered leaving the path entirely. The Buddha, hearing of this, approached him with compassion and asked, "When you were a musician, how did you tune your instrument?" The young monk replied, "If the string was too tight, it would snap. If it was too loose, it wouldn't play." The Buddha smiled gently and said, "In the same way, the mind cannot awaken if pulled too tight or left too slack. Walk the middle way, not too much, not too little. Find the balance within." This teaching, so simple, holds a quiet revolution. It asks us to trust that gentleness can also be powerful. That balance, not intensity, brings awakening. That you do not have to destroy yourself to become free. Maybe it's time to ask yourself gently, when do I push myself beyond my own breath? When do I confuse being loved with being impressive? And what am I afraid might happen if I simply rest? Let yourself reflect, not with judgment, but with tenderness. Some of the expectations you carry may not even be yours. They might belong to your past, to your upbringing, to the voices around you. And now, it's okay to put them down. There is no perfect version of you waiting at the end of endless striving. There is only this breath, this moment, this gentle awareness, reminding you, you are not a machine to be optimized. You are a human being, meant to be. Let that truth sink in. Softly. It often seems like there are only two choices in life: give everything you have, or give up entirely. We swing between these two extremes. On some days, we push ourselves relentlessly. We chase goals, chase approval, chase control, until our bodies ache and our minds collapse under the noise. And on other days, we feel so depleted, so discouraged, that we fall into resignation, drifting without purpose, simply going through the motions. It's a cycle we know too well. Overexertion followed by exhaustion. High hopes followed by quiet despair. Always one extreme or the other. Never quite at rest. And yet, the Buddha offered a third way, a gentle way, a wiser way. After 6 years of ascetic practice, starving his body and punishing his spirit, Siddhartha Gautama, who would become the Buddha, came to a riverbank. There, utterly weakened and on the edge of collapse, he heard a lute player tuning her instrument. Another man asked the player, "Why do you not tighten the string more?" And the musician smiled and said, "If I tighten it too much, it will snap. If I loosen it too much, it will fall silent. Only when the string is just right can it sing." In that moment, something shifted deep within the Buddha's heart. He realized that neither indulgence nor self-denial could lead to true awakening. He had walked both paths and found both lacking. And so he taught what he had discovered that day, what he called Majjhima Patipada, the middle way. The middle way is not mediocrity. It is not passivity. It is a radical, mindful balance between doing and resting, between striving and surrendering, between discipline and compassion. It calls us to stop swinging between extremes and to gently settle into harmony. In modern life, balance feels elusive. You're told to hustle harder, then told to just let it go. You're pulled between perfection and burnout, ambition and apathy, and neither seems to offer peace. But the middle way isn't a destination. It's a practice, a remembering, a returning to your center. Again and again, just as a meditator returns to the breath, you can feel it in small, ordinary moments. When you eat, not too much, not too little, but with presence and gratitude. When you work, not from fear of failure, but from a quiet joy in being useful. When you rest, not to escape, but to restore. When you speak, not to impress, but to connect. When you pause, not because you've given up, but because you've come home. This is the wisdom of the middle way. That wholeness is not found in the extremes, but in the stillness between them. And the beautiful truth is, you don't have to fix everything right now. You don't have to get it perfect. You only need to be sincere and gentle. Maybe today, you give yourself permission to stop forcing, to stop fleeing, to find that quiet middle ground inside you, the part that knows how to breathe again without pressure, without guilt. Ask yourself softly, have I ever tried living? Not too little, not too much, but just enough? What might life feel like if you didn't need to prove anything anymore? What might you feel like if you trusted that balance, not struggle, is the truest path to peace? Let that question settle into your heart. Let it become a seed and allow it to grow into a new way of being. Even when we begin to walk more gently, even when we let go of extremes, there's often one subtle voice that remains. It says, you still have to become someone. You must succeed to be worthy. You have to prove you matter. It's not loud. It doesn't shout, but it lives in the background. A quiet script that runs beneath every decision, every thought. And without realizing it, we carry this burden on our backs. The burden of identity, of expectations, of constantly eyeing to live up to an image of who we think we should be. But what if the pressure you feel isn't a problem in your effort, but in your idea of yourself? In the Dhamma, the Buddha offered a teaching that gently untangles this invisible web. Anatta, not self. It is perhaps one of the most misunderstood and yet most liberating truths in all of Buddhism. Anatta does not mean that we don't exist. It means that what we usually take to be me or I is not as solid, fixed, or permanent as we assume. We believe we are our roles, our titles, our resumes, our personalities. But the Buddha pointed us inward and asked, "Where is this I you cling to? Is it in the body?" But the body changes every day. Is it in your emotions? But joy and sorrow come and go. Is it in your thoughts? But even they rise and fall like waves. So what is this self we're always trying to fix, improve, protect? The insight of not self invites us to stop identifying with every passing state and start observing them. You're not your success. You're not your failure. You're not your anxiety, nor your confidence. You are the awareness behind them, vast, spacious, free. There's a story of a young meditation student who came to a Zen master and said, "I keep trying to stay mindful, to quiet my thoughts, to stabilize my breath, but I keep failing. I just can't do it right." The master looked at him with deep kindness and replied, "It's only when you stop trying to control your mind that you finally become present to it." This is the gentle paradox. The more we try to be a good meditator, a wise person, a peaceful self, the more we strengthen the illusion of self. But when we drop the story, when we simply sit, when we allow thoughts and feelings to come and go like clouds across the sky, we begin to remember something ancient, that there is a deep peace in just being aware, not becoming anything, not fixing anything, just being. So what does this mean for our daily lives? It means that we don't have to chase a certain identity to be enough. You don't have to succeed to be real. You don't have to fulfill someone's definition of worthy to be lovable. Let yourself step out of the costume, the pressure, the endless doing, and return to the simplicity of this breath. This moment. Your true nature is not a fixed role. It is spacious awareness, fluid, alive, and deeply compassionate. And every time you return to your breath without judgment, every time you notice your thoughts without becoming them, you're practicing the heart of Anatta. You're remembering that you're more than the story you've been told. What a relief to realize you don't have to be someone. You just have to be. And now, let us take a quiet moment to rest. Not to run away, but to return. Not to fix anything, but to soften around what already is. If you can, find a comfortable position. You may be seated or lying down. Let your body settle gently, without tension. There is nothing you need to achieve here, nothing to prove, only presence. If it feels safe to do so, let your eyes close. Begin by noticing your breath. No need to control it, just observe. Feel the rise of the inhale, the fall of the exhale, the simple rhythm of life, already unfolding without your effort. And now, with each breath, allow your body to grow a little heavier. Let your shoulders soften. Let the space between your brows loosen. Let your jaw unclench. Allow your hands to rest. Let your thoughts slow, like leaves drifting gently on water. Now, in the quiet of your mind, I invite you to imagine. You are standing before a large canvas bag, old, weathered, and heavy. This is the bag of expectations. Inside it are all the invisible weights you've been carrying. I have to succeed. I should always be better. I must not fail. I need to be liked. I must stay strong. I have to prove I'm enough. Let yourself slowly open the bag, and as you look inside, you begin to see. Each expectation takes the shape of a stone, some large, some small. Some were placed there by others. Some you placed yourself. One by one, begin to remove them. No rush, just presence. Pick up the stone labeled, "I must always be in control," and gently release it. Place it on the ground beside you. Pick up the one that says, "I have to be perfect." Notice its heaviness. Then let it go. And another, "I need to make everyone proud." Feel how long you've carried it. Let it fall from your hands. Each stone you release is a breath returning to your chest, a softening of the heart, a permission to just be. There is no one here to impress. There is no self to prove. There is only this quiet moment, and your willingness to meet it. Now see the bag, once heavy, now almost empty. And with the next inhale, lift it gently and place it down fully. Step away from it. Feel what it's like to stand without it, to breathe without it, to live without it. You are still here, still whole, still deeply enough. You never needed the bag to begin with. Take another deep breath in, slowly, gently. Feel the air enter your body with no expectation, no command. And as you breathe out, release any lingering need to become anything other than what you already are. There is great peace in simply being. There is great freedom in doing nothing but witnessing this breath. So rest here, in this spacious awareness. No need to be wise, no need to be still. Just allow whatever is to be. And when you feel ready, bring some small movements back to the body. Wiggle the fingers, roll the shoulders, soften the neck. And when it feels right, gently open the eyes. Welcome back. You are not your expectations. You are not your pressure. You are not your performance. You are awareness, presence, aliveness, here and now. And from this space, you can live not from striving, but from stillness. Not from fear, but from freedom. When you stop striving to become, you begin to remember how to simply be. And in that remembrance, there is a quiet invitation. Not to do more, but to live more deeply. Not to perform life, but to touch it with awareness. This is the path of mindful living, not a grand ambition, not a perfect schedule, but a way of walking through your day with eyes soft, with breath steady, with heart awake. Mindful living doesn't require a change in circumstance. It begins with a change in attention. You can start in the smallest of moments. Like the next time you pour a cup of tea, don't rush. Hold the cup with both hands. Feel its warmth. Watch the steam rise like a morning offering. Breathe in its fragrance with gratitude. And let that simple act become sacred. This is meditation in motion. Or when you work, bring your full presence to each task. Not to get it done faster, but to feel the life within it. Washing a dish, writing an email, folding a towel, each becomes an opportunity to return to yourself. Give yourself permission to rest. Without guilt. The Buddha taught that even the most dedicated practitioner must know when to stop. Rest is not failure. Rest is wisdom. To pause is not to fall behind. It is to realign with what matters most. And when you make a mistake, speak to yourself the way a kind teacher would speak to a beloved student, not with blame, but with warmth. Because every stumble, every misstep is also the path. There is no perfect version of you waiting somewhere else. There's only this moment, inviting you to begin again. So, walk slowly, smile often, let your breath be your anchor, let your presence be your gift, let your life be the meditation. And now, ask yourself gently, if I no longer needed to impress anyone, if I no longer measured myself by achievement or approval, how would I live this day? What would change? What would soften? What would come alive? Let that question stay with you, not as a demand, but as a doorway. Because mindful living is not about adding something to your life. It's about returning to what was always here. The breath, the stillness, the sacred simplicity of being. When we begin to see clearly, we begin to soften. So much of our inner fatigue doesn't come from life itself, but from the stories we carry, that we must do more to be enough, that rest must be earned, that worth is conditional. But as we've seen together, the Dhamma gently reveals another way. It shows us that over-effort is not strength, but imbalance, that trying to perfect the self is a form of grasping, and that peace, true nourishing peace, begins not when we achieve more, but when we let go. The Buddhist teachings offer us a way out of the cycle of pressure. Through the middle way, we learn to walk neither too fast nor too slow, but in rhythm with the present moment. Through not self, we free ourselves from the exhausting task of constantly building and defending an identity. And through mindfulness, we begin to return again and again to what is already here, the breath, the body, the miracle of being alive. So let us remember this. You do not need to be perfect to deserve peace. You do not need to be more than you are to be worthy of stillness. You do not need to try so hard to become something. You only need to remember that you already are. Each day, choose gentleness, choose enoughness, choose to treat yourself the way the Buddha would treat you, with understanding, with kindness, with non-judgmental presence. Thank you for walking this path with me today, slowly, breath by breath. Wherever you are, however you feel, may you remember that the way home is not far. It lives in every mindful step, every soft exhale, every moment you choose to be here, fully and lovingly. I'll meet you there again soon. And perhaps next time, we'll reflect together on how to offer this same compassion inward, to forgive the parts of ourselves we've long rejected. How do we forgive ourselves? That may be the next doorway. Until then, be well, be kind to your own heart, and may peace find you from the inside out.